listening to the John Barrett Leadership Podcast, where you'll hear great ideas, insight, and inspiration to level up your leadership ability.
Hey guys, I am John Barrett with John Barrett Leadership, and I am so excited that you are tuning in to episode 1, the very first podcast that I'm putting out for John Barrett Leadership. It's so good to have you listening in wherever you may be. Maybe you're on the treadmill right now and you are trucking down the line to get healthier. Maybe you're walking around the house doing some cleaning. Maybe you're in the car driving right now, or maybe you are in a meeting and you have your headphones in and you are listening to this rather than paying attention. It's so good to have you here, and I am excited to bring value and to do everything I can to add to your leadership ability to help level you up in your leadership capacity. You know, I've had a blog that I've been doing for many years at johnbarrettleadership.com, where I write every Tuesday morning. A new one comes out. Just a tip, maybe insight on leadership, just something that's going to help you level up as a leader. And I've had so many people over the years say, hey, you need to start a podcast. You need to do something where you're speaking. That way we can listen to it and that. I do a lot of speaking and going around and talking with teams and that. So I thought, hey, this new year, 2021, I'm going to go ahead and start a podcast where I can talk, communicate to those that are listening that want to level up their leadership ability. So that's why you're here. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Hey, just some background on me, just real quick. If you're new to my world and who I am, let me just kind of share with you a little bit about me, a little background. You know, I've been teaching leadership for over 20 years now, actually, that I've been teaching and working with teams. And I started off in the nonprofit world leading teams and lots of different organizations I was a part of. And I began to realize something, that I began to realize that our impact as an organization, all the ones that I worked with, was really dependent on our leadership. Those that were working alongside of me and that we were working together began to realize that our impact was a direct result of our leadership ability. And so what I began to do is really invest into the teams around me and really connect with them and learn about leadership and really invest into this. And when that happened, I began to fall in love with leaders. I really started to love more of the leadership journey than I did even what we were doing. And so that really threw me into the world of connecting with leaders and inspiring leaders, teaching them how to be better leaders so that they can make a difference in what they were doing. And that opened the door for me to get connected with a lot of other organizations and even work with some mentors, where I traveled around the country teaching leadership. I did youth leadership classes all around, and we would do conferences. And then we began to speak to entrepreneurs and business owners. And it just began to grow from there. And I've been doing this for a while. And then I got connected with my mentor, who I had read lots of books from, Dr. John C. Maxwell. And I got connected to be a part of his team, the John Maxwell team, to come on as a team member with him. And that many years ago. And that was huge for me because John was a huge mentor of mine, just through books and through audio and all the things that I did to learn leadership through his teachings. And so to be able to join the team and get mentored by John was a huge deal. If you've not heard of John, he's considered the #1 leadership expert in the world by Forbes, by Incorporated magazine. Just about every person out there and every organization that recognizes leadership gurus, if you will, John is literally the #1 in the world. He is the mentor to the Patrick Lencioni's and the Jim Collins and all those guys that are very famous. John is really their mentor. And I've been able to spend time with John one-on-one and him mentor me through his team. And it's been a great journey. And then since then, I began to kind of get involved in starting my own leadership business. And that happened many, many years ago, where I kind of stepped out and began to pursue opportunities to connect with organizations and people. And since then, I've done so many great things, started lots of different businesses in the music industry with myself, doing some music, art. I do some of that, as well as leadership coaching and speaking and writing some books. So anyway, it's been a great journey. I just wanted to give you a little background on me. My heart bleeds for leaders. It beats for leaders, if you will. I just have a passion. My purpose in life is to help others find their purpose. And I love to connect with leaders that are hungry, that are passionate about making a difference no matter what they're doing. I just want to help them be better at what they do and to level up their leadership. So I'm so excited that you're tuning in. Listen, I want to talk today about the need to lead. When I thought about this very first podcast that I would do, I had a lot of topics, and there's a lot of things I want to talk about in the coming months and that. But one of the things that I thought, we need to start off with a podcast called The Need to Lead, because there is a need to lead in our world today. There always has been, all throughout since the beginning of time, there's a need to lead. But I'm telling you, what we're facing today, especially in the U.S. where I live, there is a need for leadership. There is a need to lead. We're going through a lot of things, a lot of racial tension, a lot of political tension, just all kinds of things. Obviously, a pandemic that we're in the middle of right now as I record this, but there is a need to lead. And I'm telling you, that need to lead is so powerful. The world needs you. It needs leaders. Leaders have always been the ones to keep things moving forward. If you go all throughout history, all throughout the beginning of time till today, we can see that it's leaders that changed the world. They always have, they always will. They will be the ones to change the world because it's those that step up to the plate. A leader is simply somebody who takes responsibility to create change, to step up and to do something about it. When most people are saying, somebody should do something about that. Something should be done about that. Leaders are the ones that say, I'm going to do something about that. I'll do something about that. They step up. Now think about all the great movements throughout history. It was because of a leader that stepped up to the plate and began to create change, to make a difference. We could go and name so many movements throughout history, and we can see that it's because leaders did something and it created change. Through history, people have recorded the names of people that have made an impact. We have written about them. We have put them and taught them in schools and all throughout our whole timeline. We've looked at leaders that made a difference. But I want you to know that you don't have to be someone who has your name recorded in history to make a difference. You can be a leader today because the world needs you. You can make an impact today. It's not just about creating a movement that changes the world, although those are great things, but sometimes it's the little things. Leadership is needed everywhere, whether it's in your home, whether it's with your friends, whether it's in your community, whether it's in your organization, your business, the world, the nation. We need leaders. The need is there everywhere. And I'll tell you what, though history may not record your name, someone will record your impact. I guarantee it. We all have people in our life that we can look at that were leaders to us, people that made a difference in our lives. And usually, the ones that made the biggest difference are not the names recorded in history. It's not the people that are celebrities, so to speak. It's the people that made an impact on us growing up or maybe even here and now. Maybe it's a mom or a dad, or maybe it's an aunt or an uncle. Maybe it was a coach during school. Maybe it was a teacher. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe it was a mentor. Maybe it was somebody that you just happen to get connected with. Those are the people sometimes that make the biggest difference. In fact, I would argue that sometimes it's the person right down the street that can make the biggest difference on your life than it is on some big celebrity name or whoever it may be that's famous. So I want you to know that we need leaders today more than ever before. And listen, you're listening to this because you want to be a leader. You wouldn't take the time to listen to this if you didn't have something within you that wanted to be better at what you do because you want to make a difference in whatever it is. But I've got some news for us. I do have to give you a little bit of bad news about this need to lead. Leadership is hard. If you didn't know that by now, then let me just fill you in. Leadership is not for the weak of heart. It is not for those that are looking to kind of take a little stroll down the street. Leadership is a hard thing. In fact, my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, I'll never forget years ago, I was with him at a conference and he was teaching. And he said something from the stage. I thought this was so good. And you got to understand, John has written at this point, I think, 80-some books. He's got the most New York Times bestseller leadership books ever written. He's just incredible author. But he said it was years ago. He said, I'm going to write a book one day. And he said, I don't know how it's going to go over, but I'm going to write a book one day and just be honest. And he said, it's going to be called Leadership Sucks. And he said, I don't know if this is going to be received real well, but that's the book that I want to write because it's probably the real raw book that we would all say. That sometimes this leadership just sucks. It's hard. It is not easy being a leader. It's not easy doing this thing. It's not easy stepping up to the plate and creating change and making a difference. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. We would see a difference being made every day, all the time, but we don't because most people, they see the need to lead, but they're not willing to step up, which we're going to unpack some of that today. But I want you to know that leaders live by the mantra that they say this: if I don't do it, who will? That's kind of a leader's, mantra right there, is that if I don't do it, who will? They're not waiting for other people to step up. Most people say, someone should do something about that. But the leaders say, again, I'm going to do something about that. This is why it's hard for leaders to say no. This is why leaders sometimes get themselves really, really caught up in a whole lot of things that are going on. And it can get real overwhelming because they want to make a difference. It's very hard for them to say no, because they want to get out there on the field. I love the movie The Replacements. If you remember that with Keanu Reeves, Gene Hackman. It wasn't a huge movie, but it was kind of a fun movie. But I'll never forget there's a line. Keanu Reeves is the quarterback, Gene Hackman is the coach, and they're kind of coming back, and you just got to see the story. It's kind of fun. But anyway, near the end of the story, there's a line, and I love this. Gene Hackman is talking to Keanu Reeves. And he says something to him. He says, winners want the ball when the game is on the line. I love that. Winners want the ball when the game is on the line. You've got a great leader when the leader says, Coach, put me in. Hey, I want to do something about that. I'll step up and champion that cause. If you want to know who the leaders are in your organization, just throw something out there and see who responds. Throw the ball on the field and see who runs after it to go get it. I mean, that's when you've got a leader. Listen, followers don't run after the ball. They kind of wait for someone else to pick up the ball and then kind of see what they need to do and adjust their plans accordingly. But leaders are the ones that want the ball when the game is on the line. And now is the time. The game is on the line today for you to step up. The world needs you as a leader. The world needs leadership. Hey, what the world needs now is leadership, sweet leadership. Okay, sorry, that just brought back. Okay, never mind. Anyway, great song. So what the world needs now is leadership, sweet leadership. Leaders will be the ones that will literally take the world into the future. They've always been, they always will be the champions of change. So 3 things that I want to challenge you with today, 3 thoughts that I just kind of want to ask you. If you're going to step up to the need to lead and really do this, there's 3 things that I want you to think about. The first one is this: are you ready? So that's my question to you. 3 questions. First question, are you ready? Are you ready to step up and lead? See, you've got to prepare on the front end if you're going to be ready to lead on the back end. You've got to be prepared now. John Wooden, one of my favorite coaches and just leadership guys, famous UCLA basketball coach, John Wooden said this I love. He said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. What a great line. When an opportunity comes to you, it is too late to prepare. That's what he'd tell us players when they were in the game. He said, when you have an opportunity to do something, when the clock is ticking, it's too late to prepare. You have to step out and already be ready for what you're going to do. And with leadership, it's no different. When opportunity comes, are you ready? It's too late to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. You've got to be prepared on the front end. So be ready for when your time comes. If you're going to step up and lead, you've got to ask yourself, what are you doing today that's going to help you tomorrow? Because what you do today determines if you're ready for tomorrow. Let me say that again because that is powerful. What you are doing to prepare or what you do today determines if you're ready for tomorrow. That's good because it's leaders that are investing in themselves today, that they're stepping up and they're doing something to pour into themselves, to prepare themselves so that when their opportunity comes, so that when tomorrow comes, they are ready. So what are you doing to prepare yourself? I hope that you're getting resources like this. I hope that you're reading, that you're listening to mentors, that you're getting surrounded by things that are going to inspire you and teach you and grow you. Because every time that you invest your time to pour into yourself and you input into you, you're going to have a great output. What you input is what you will output. But if you aren't inputting, can I tell you this? You're not going to be outputting very well. It's what you put into you that determines how well of the things that come out of you. So I want to ask you, what are you doing? Are you ready to lead today? I want to challenge you. Take every day as an opportunity. Think of this. Every day is an opportunity to prepare yourself for tomorrow. And as a leader, listen, if you're going to be prepared tomorrow for that meeting, if you're going to be prepared tomorrow for that run-in or that challenge or that problem that you're going to face or that opportunity that may come your way tomorrow, you never know. Listen, destiny can change in a phone call. If you're not ready today, if you're not getting prepared today, you won't be ready tomorrow. So I'm asking you, what are you doing every day to prepare yourself for tomorrow? What do you do? Now, most people, unfortunately, they're not doing a whole lot, I'll be honest with you. They wake up late, they sleep in, they hit snooze on the alarm, they're rushing in the morning to go get ready, to get a shower and get everything ready for the day, and they run out the door, or in the case of a pandemic, they run up to their bedroom or their office or whatever it is, and they hit the ground running with a meeting or whatever it may be. And then the day just goes crazy. And they're just going back to back to back, working on things, running everywhere, doing all kinds of stuff. And at the end of the day, whenever that may be, they finally sign off, log off, leave the office, whatever it may be. When at the end of the day, they get home, they're exhausted, they're worn out, they just want to kind of pass out. And then they just kind of veg or whatever they do until they go to bed and they wake up and they do the same thing. Can I tell you that if you're going to get ready as a leader for tomorrow, you better get intentional about your day today. You better wake up a little bit earlier. You better get some discipline under you and say, you know what? What am I going to do to prepare for the day? Prepare myself as a leader. What am I going to do going into this meeting? Listen, instead of redlining your meetings and running into the meeting one right after the next, how about you give yourself a little 10-minute break just to prepare for the next meeting? Collect your thoughts. Do something to kind of pump yourself up and get yourself in the right frame of mind so that when you go into that, you're prepared on the front end so that you are able to engage and you're able to do whatever you need to do on the back end. So what are you doing today to prepare? Second thing I want to ask you is this: are you willing? So the first question is, are you ready to step up to the need to lead? The second one is, are you willing to do it? You see, so many people might be ready, but the question is, are you willing? See, something has to precede the need to lead, and that's willingness. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not in what they know, it's in what they are willing to do. Now listen to that. That's a big statement. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not in what they know, but it's in what they're willing to do. You see, everybody knows pretty much what to do to be more successful. If you wanted to be healthier, I could go around the room of 100 people, and all 100 people would have a idea. They know what they need to do to get healthier. Yeah, I need to eat a little bit better. I probably need to exercise a little bit more. It'll probably be better if I laid off this, got some more sleep. And, we all know that. But why is it that very few people take the step to actually get healthy? Because it's not in what you know, it's in what you're willing to do. Most people know how to make more money. Yeah, I probably need to, be a little more strategic. I probably need to get out there and work a little bit harder and get around some opportunities, maybe invest some money. We all know how to get more money, so to speak. But very, very few people are willing to do what it takes to get there. So there's a big difference. Are you willing? I love in the movie Captain America, the very first one, when I think his name's Steve, the main character, I think Captain America, when they bring him in, he's this scrawny little guy and he's coming into the army and they're trying to, put him through the basic training and that. And there's a scene in there where the drill instructor throws down a grenade or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but he unpins the grenade or throws a grenade down there or whatever happens. and everybody else just takes off to run. And Captain America, before he's Captain America, he runs and he jumps on the grenade to protect everybody else. And that's how they knew the guy that they wanted to put through all these testing and turn into Captain America and do all these experiments with. When they were trying to select the guy to do that, they said, that's the guy we want. The guy who's willing to step up. The guy who just has a good heart, who just has an ability to kind of jump into the ring, kind of jump in after the ball rather than run from it. And I always loved that scene. I thought, wow, how cool is that? That's the person that I want to be, someone that's willing to kind of jump in. And again, when the game's on the line, the winners want the ball. Listen, if you can fill the need to lead today, there will always be a need for you to lead tomorrow. I mean, if you can fill the need to lead today, there will always be a need for you to lead tomorrow. You see, the people that we value, the people that we want to be surrounded by, the people that create incredible opportunity in their life are the ones that step up to lead today, because they are the ones that are needed for tomorrow. You become valuable when you become that kind of person, when you're willing to do what others won't. And when you're willing to do what others won't, you stick out. You begin to create value around yourself. People begin to say, there's something different about that person. That's the person that I want to go to battle with. That's the person that I want to go into business with. That's the person I want to go into the boardroom with, is them. Those are the kind of people that get opportunity because they're willing to jump in. But listen, as I mentioned earlier, leadership is hard. You've got to roll up your sleeves and you've got to get to work. Listen, leadership is most effective and needed when things are going wrong. That's why leadership is so hard. Listen, when things are going good and right and smooth, listen, the reality is the need for leadership is not as strong. I mean, things are functioning, they're going, they're optimized, they're working well. It's when things begin to kind of break down. It's when there's issues that's the moment when leaders are needed. That's why leadership is hard. If you want to be a leader because you want to be able to go on the golf course and you just want to have the nice parking spot and you want to be able to walk into the office and not have a lot of stuff to do because you're quote unquote the leader, you have got such a messed up picture of leadership that you have no business in gunning for that. Because one, you are going to get shell-shocked when that's not the case, number one. And number two, that is not the goal of leadership. If what is driving you is title and money and, hey, I've earned this, I deserve this position as a leader, it's time for me now to kick back because I paid my dues, I just have some bad news for you. Listen, leadership is not for you. It isn't. Because leadership is needed most when there's challenges, when there are problems. But again, that's why leaders, the ones that truly are leaders, the ones that truly want to make a difference, that's why they're willing to jump in. Even when that grenade gets pulled, they want to jump in because they want to make a difference. Listen, that's who I'm talking to today. So I want you to know that leadership, it's not easy, but if you're willing to do it, if you're willing to step in to the ring, you're willing to do what it takes, then you are going to have a huge reward come your way, because the payoff of applying yourself and jumping in is so incredible. Listen, it is so incredible. The reward of leadership is phenomenal because you make a difference and you do incredible things. You feel purpose, you feel fulfillment in your life when you step up as a leader. But is it easy? No, it's hard. And in fact, you're going to get paid not for when times are going well. You're going to get paid because of when times are going bad. Listen, a lot of people bring me in as a leadership coach, not because things are just going perfectly and smooth. They bring me in because there's some challenges. There's some opportunities for them to get better. There's some opportunities where they want to grow and learn. And that's why I get brought in. So it's okay. Leadership is hard, but listen, when you're willing to step up to the plate, you're going to make things better. You're going to work things out. So first question, are you ready? Are you preparing? Are you doing everything today so that you're going to be better tomorrow as a leader? Second thing, are you willing? Are you willing to step up and not become lazy or not become jaded or not all those things that could keep you from it, but are you willing to step up? The third one is this, are you able? Are you able? You know, the need to lead, you've got to be able to lead. Now, this is a little trick question for you because I'm going to answer this for you. The first one, are you ready? I can't answer that for you. You have to answer that by the effort that you put in to prepare yourself every day. Are you willing? I can't answer that for you. That's something that you internally have to struggle with and say, am I willing to step up and take on challenges every day? The third one I can answer for you. Because here's the deal. Are you able? Here's the answer. If you are ready and if you are willing, then you will be able. That's the good news. So the third one is kind of rhetorical. It kind of answers it for you. If you're ready and if you're willing and you'll apply those two things, you'll do what it takes to be ready, you'll do what it takes to be willing, I've got good news for you. You will be able. You'll be able to lead. You'll be able to do this and you'll be able to make a difference. Because when you are faithful with being ready and being willing, the overflow organically, what happens is that you are able to lead. You will make a difference when you're doing those things very well. So you don't have to wrestle with the question, am I able to do this? Do I have the skills? Do I have what it takes? I don't know. There's so many other people that are better. There's so many other people that have the answer. There's so many other people that know what to do, and I'm still trying to figure this out. Well, listen, as long as you're ready and you're preparing yourself, and as long as you're willing to jump in with all you've got, you will be able because you'll learn. I was just talking to someone today, doing a coaching session right before this with someone, and they said that they got some advice from somebody one time, and they told them, they said, if you'll treat every day like it's practice, then you'll learn to get better and take all the stress off of you. Now, this person was dealing with just the weight and the stress. They had a big presentation coming up, and they were thinking, they were overthinking this and really trying to be the best that they could, but it was kind of adding a lot of stress, just a lot of pressure on them. And when they heard that, just treat it as practice. Listen, go in there and do the best you can, but listen, you're going to learn from it. It's practice. You may hit it 100%, you may not, but you're going to learn from it and you're going to get better the next day. And they told me when we were in this coaching session, they said when they heard that from this person that kind of encouraged them with that, they said it really helped them put things into perspective. And I thought, what great insight. What great insight that you treat every day as though it's kind of a practice. Right? You just view everything as though, listen, I'm going to go in and give it my best and do everything I can. But listen, if I do well, great. If I don't do well, it's going to be a learning moment for me to get better the next time. If you treat it like that, you're going to be able to lead because every day you're going to be pouring back into yourself and your ability is going to go up and up and up. But listen, if you are going to be able, you've got to work on that kind of mental mind game as a leader. You've got to get out of your head this idea that you're not going to be able to do it. You don't have the answers. You're not going to make it through this challenge. It's all going to fall apart. I mean, we hear this junk every day in our mind, right? As a leader, sometimes we're just plagued with this kind of negative thing that just tries to come at us and derail us and get us knocked off course. But listen, great leaders, I mean, you got to understand that it's a mind game. You've got to just tell yourself every day, I'm able to do this. I'm able to do this. Listen, if I'm ready and I'm willing, I'm able to do this. And you've got to walk into every meeting, every challenge, everything that you do, you've got to walk in and say, I'm able to do this and build yourself up. I heard not long ago, Dr. James Gills. This is so cool. Dr. James Gills is the only guy in the world, I believe, that has completed 6 double triathlons. Now, that is insane. 6 double triathlons. Now, listen, a triathlon in itself is an amazing accomplishment. To do a double triathlon back to back, that's crazy. To do 6 double triathlons and complete them all is like, I don't even have a word for it. I mean, that's outrageous. You are committed. You are crazy, all right, in a good way. But Dr. James Gills did. In fact, his last one that he completed, I think he was in his 50s. That's crazy. But listen, here's what's so cool about what Dr. James Gillis says. When they asked him, they said, how do you do this? How do you complete 6 double triathlons? How do you even not only have the physical stamina, but how do you have the mental fortitude to even get through that? And this is what he said that is so powerful. He looked and he said, I've learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself. And I thought, wow, drop the mic. Listen, if you'll stop listening to the negative voice and you'll start telling yourself and talking to yourself that you're able, you can do this, you're going to be able to do great things in your leadership. Listen, there is a need to lead. There is a need for you to lead. Be ready. Be willing. And if you'll do that, you're going to be able. And if you'll stop listening to the negative voice that says you can't do it, you don't have what it takes, you'll never get through this problem, you just stop listening to yourself, start talking to yourself. Guys, listen, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it added value. I'd love for you to subscribe to this wherever you listen to the podcast. Tune in. Let your friends know about this. I'm going to be coming out with a new podcast once every month. It's so good to be here. Listen, level up your leadership, guys, and have a great, great time.
Thanks for listening to the John Barrett Leadership Podcast. To get more of John's resources, visit www.johnbarrettleadership.com.